Corn School is brought to you by BASF and Pride Seeds.
Peter Johnson, realagriculture.com, and we're out here today in a cornfield. Why would I be in a cornfield? Because I'm a wheat guy. Well, yeah, once in a while we talk about corn. And by the way, corn is not the wonder crop you thought it was. It has issues as well. And what are we having this year? Fusarium, gibberella actually in the corn crop. Did you know that fusarium in the wheat crop and gibberella in the corn crop are exactly the same fungus, but in fact, the fungus likes corn so much better than it likes wheat that it actually will go sexual in the corn crop, so we call it gibberella. In the wheat crop, it likes wheat enough. We all know that. We get the, oh man, it just likes wheat way too much, but it never goes sexual, so we call it fusarium. So we do have this year gibberella in the corn crop. Where do we have it? It's like crazy out in Manitoba, even into Saskatchewan. We have all sorts, wherever there's corn, where they had moisture, lots of gibberella, and we also have it in Ontario. How bad is it? Well, the Ministry of Agriculture and Food, Ben Rosser, Albert Tenuta, they just released a report. They went across Ontario from Windsor to Ottawa. They sampled 121 fields, and guess what? 25% of the samples that they tested came back at over 2 parts per million for vomitoxin. Is that an issue? If you're a hog feeder, that's a huge issue, to the point where some hog farmers are actually hoping to buy last year's corn that's still in storage because it was such good feed. And oh, it's a pleasure to feed pigs good quality corn. It is just a nightmare to feed pigs corn that is over 2 parts per million vomitoxin. So, what are we looking for? Well, the first thing we're looking for is, do we have tight husks? Because that husk stays tight, and guess what? That's what keeps the moisture in, and gibberella in the corn crop grows anytime the corn crop is over 19% moisture. And why did we get it this year? That's the other question, particularly in Ontario. It was so dry through July. I had no rainfall on my farm at home whatsoever in July, and yet I have fusarium gibberella in my corn crop. How could that be? Well, the tip kernels didn't pollinate. The silks actually stayed alive, waiting to pollinate. It started to rain for me on August the 12th. Those silks were still alive, the fusarium came in, and now we have all this fusarium starting at the tip. And that's as you go through. This is a pretty clean field, but as I go through, guess what? Fusarium on the tip of even these pretty good cobs, just because they didn't quite get that tip pollinated. We go through and we find later pollinating plants that were even a little bit delayed, and now we can really start to see that white fusarium growth starting down between the kernels, so that's not a good thing. The other thing that is out there in Ontario in a big way, western bean cutworms. So we used to have the hot spot down around Bothwell, Rodney, into Delhi, the sand soils. It's moved out into the Ottawa Valley now, and I can find it in almost every cornfield. Where at Elmira, it's not sand soil, you wouldn't expect it to be a big issue. Yeah, guess what? I can find insect injury, western bean cutworm, and guess what? As soon as you get that injury, you have the fusarium into the cob. It's like the insect almost takes it in with them. So lots of fusarium growth there, lots of gibberella. That's a really big problem. Then we get into the late emergers, and here is one that obviously was a late emerger, but guess what? That's a harvestable cob, and look at the amount of gibberella there, that white growth, the turning pink. And the other thing that starts to happen is that the cob now is just going punky from that gibberella growing down into the cob. So what do? Harvest immediately. Gibberella grows anytime that corn crop is over 19% moisture. You have to stop it. You dry it below 19, you stop it. You put it in a silo, you ensile it, you stop it. The only other thing you can do is do your utmost best to keep the chunks of cob out of it, keep a clean sample and whole kernels, because these damaged kernels, or the ones from the insect damage, they'll break up. There's more fines in them. So then we get more of that toxin in the fines. In the future, what can you do? Well, there are varietal differences, but the real thing you can do, if you have to have clean corn, you have to look at spraying a fusarium fungicide, just like we do in wheat, a fusarium fungicide right at silking time, at pollination. And so if you do that, we've already got some results back in where they sprayed it, they have 0.3 parts per million toxin. Where they didn't spray it, it's at 1.8 parts per million toxin, just way too close to that 2 part per million cutoff. So big issue, be aware, nothing good happens to corn after 30% moisture anyway, so get to the field, get it harvested, get it dried. Let's keep the quality in the corn crop. Let's not let it go south.